Welcome back. I'm Brandon, the HBAR Bull, once again joined by Zepsi. We both do some contract work for the HBAR Foundation, but we don't do these weekly updates in any official capacity. We're just coming on personally to give you the latest in the Hedera ecosystem. Welcome, Zep.
How's it going, Brandon?
Pretty good. Like always, I do want to make a note. None of this is financial advice. Use it for entertainment or educational purposes only. The big thing that I do want to get into, even though we have all kinds of big news to get into, is we crossed 10,000 subscribers this past week. So we are going to do the giveaway. I'll run through that real quick. All the terms and conditions or the rules for the giveaway are down there in the description. But pretty much all you have to do is put in the comments your Twitter handle and hashtag 10K giveaway. The first prize is going to be one of the HBAR Bull Airships. We're also going to give away a silver HBAR Bull Earthlings pin. Both of those, of course, are coming from Earthlings. And then we're also going to give away the number 10 one center. That's meant to commemorate the low that HBAR hit in January of 2020. And it's pretty much to celebrate anybody who has the fortitude to buy the bottom in the crypto market at any point. And to go along with the one center, we also have physical coins as well. I'll send them out in this cool little package here. You'll get at least 2 of them. As long as the shipping's reasonable, I'll cover the shipping. If you're in Timbuktu, we might need to talk about it. But besides that, as far as the second prize, we're going to give away another one of the Earthlings HBAR Bull Airships, and we're going to give one of the classic HBAR Bull pins away. So again, all you have to do is drop your Twitter handle and hashtag 10K giveaway down in the comments, and we'll be drawing that next week.
Have you so you've got the ones who bought the bottom, the fortitude to keep going. How about the people that bought the top?
Oh yeah, no, we don't have anything for that. Sorry about that.
Oh, if we can get a custom one for me, that would be great.
There we go. There we go. The next thing I wanted to get into is something that just came out yesterday. StraitsX, a major payments institution licensed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, announced that it will be piloting a series of stablecoin applications at Singapore FinTech Festival 2022, which aims to showcase stablecoins' real-world use case applications and benefits for trade and commerce. Through collaborations with partners such as IDEMIA, Hedera, MasterCard, and Carbon Seed Earth, StraitsX focused on driving 5 key benefits of stablecoins that can bring increased payment efficiency, on-chain and off-chain programmability, providing interoperability, spurring financial inclusion, and enabling sustainable and energy-efficient transactions. And we have a quick quote from the head of StraitsX. He said, "The digital assets landscape has been evolving and gaining traction as more businesses recognize the benefits of blockchain technology, but there's still untapped potential when it comes to using stablecoins as a means of payment in real-world use case applications. These applications demonstrate how stablecoins can bring forth more innovation, and we're excited to collaborate with industry leaders to explore the benefits of stablecoins in depth to showcase the viability of stablecoin usage in business applications like B2B settlement, offline payments, and sustainability." And the HBAR Foundation's own Sabrina said, "We're delighted to partner with industry leaders StraitsX and IDEMIA to help drive financial inclusion in APAC. StraitsX's upcoming Hedera native XSGD stablecoin was combined with IDEMIA's secure offline payment system powered by Hedera smart contracts to provide a resilient, cost-effective, and energy-efficient alternative to existing digital payment schemes. We believe the solution is well-suited to answer needs in the region." And they also are working with MasterCard. So StraitsX and MasterCard, a global payment technology solution, have partnered to enable MasterCard crypto partners to use XSGD to facilitate settlements between businesses. So the VP of Digital Assets at MasterCard said, "Building on the successes of our stablecoin pilots in the US and UK, we're excited to be partnering with StraitsX to continue pushing the frontier on digital assets innovation and exploring real-world benefits of stablecoins. Piloting a stablecoin settlement application using XSGD marks a meaningful step forward for our businesses in the APAC region." Any thoughts on this one, Zep?
Yeah, so I mean, I think one of the key takeaways for me there is the fact that StraitsX, as a payment institution, is licensed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and that is the central bank of Singapore. So that means that the central bank of Singapore is using a stable coin that is built on Hedera directly. So that gives us a direct connection with another central bank. And Singapore, as we know, that's like one of the finance capitals of the world. So the fact that their genuine central bank is supporting StraitsX, who's created this XSGD Singapore dollar stablecoin on Hedera, to me that's a really great sign. And putting together the pieces of that PR, from my understanding, there's a pilot there with MasterCard as well. Hopefully we'll get more clarity on that. But to see MasterCard there using XSGD in some way, whether that's the Hedera one or not, we'll find out, I suppose. But to see them next to Hedera there in these three pilots with Straits above them, there's clearly relationships there, and clearly, discussions are going to be going on there. And this isn't the first time we've seen MasterCard close to Hedera, so I'm sure there's stuff going on behind the scenes there. And I hope to hear some more about that pilot in the future.
Yeah, could you imagine if this came out in the bull market?
Quite right. Quite bloody right. If that came out in the bull market, I think we'd be nice. But
all right, the other thing, a couple weeks ago, we didn't have one of these weekly updates last week because I was at Karate Combat, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But we've had staking live for about 2 weeks. What's your experience been thus far in native Hedera staking?
Yeah, so I'm staked to UCL because I'm in London right now, and I was in London when I did it. I don't even live in London, but I live in the UK, so that's enough. But UCL, yeah. I think because I use that infographic of theirs probably more than any other infographic in the world, the one that shows how environmentally efficient Hedera is. So I think that's two of my reasonings for staking with them. But so far, no, it's been great. It's almost sort of surreal that it's actually here. It's very, very exciting, and we're just waiting for that ledger now. And then once that ledger integration is there, I'll be aping in with everything.
Yeah, and 6.5% is no joke. I think I am staked to IBM, Swirlds, and then one other one. There is one of the nodes, most of them are fairly below the max, so there's no risk of that 6.5% getting lowered, except for EFTPOS. EFTPOS probably has Rob staking to it, so it's almost maxed out. I'm just messing with you.
One interesting talking point on that EFTPOS comment is, so I was talking to Wes Geisenberger, who's the head of the Sustainable Impact Fund at the foundation. And he was saying that he went to a crypto conference in Australia. And he said it was the only conference he's been to whereby Hedera was the main voice in the room. Everyone there wanted to talk to Hedera, talk about Hedera, because Hedera has a real foothold over there. You've got EFTPOS, obviously. You've got Rob Allen, who's been preaching the Hedera gospel over there for a while now. So to see, to hear that, definitely that Hedera is the main talking point at a conference is really exciting, and hopefully that'll be, that's the first domino, and that'll be more clear as you go forward. Because I'm currently actually at a bit of a tangent here, but I'm currently at NFT London, and there's a fair amount of people that know about Hedera, but we can definitely do more work there. But I've met a lot of great people that are very interested, especially in the governing council. That's still an amazing thing that people are in awe of, really.
Yeah, I think certainly Hedera has a hot spot down there in Australia. But, there's been some confusion around staking. I know that, when you trigger rewards either with a payment or with, depositing money or something along those lines, depositing HBAR into your account, a lot of times those staking payments will get lumped in with other payments, and it can be confusing. You can figure it out if you go on HashScan, but it can be a little bit confusing. So I understand if people are a little bit taken aback by how all that staking works, but we're going to get used to it. All right, so one thing I do want to say about staking is I've noticed Binance US has been actively adding proof of stake rewards across several protocols. It kind of appears as if they're looking to pass on these rewards from most platforms as a matter of strategy. So I don't think it'll be too long before Hedera staking rewards get offered through Binance US. Zenobia has been continuing to do a great job when it comes to those gossip about gossip interviews, and there was one that really caught my eye from Aberdeen, and I have a quick clip that I wanted to show, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit after.
Our introduction to Hedera came through looking at tokenizing our funds, and we'd kind of been working on various different projects and had landed on using Hedera for that, and then things kind of went from there. We saw the added value of joining the council, the additional governance, and the things that can come from the future as we look to kind of integrate blockchain and DLT across the fund management industry.
Can you share a little bit more when you talk about tokenization of assets? What kinds of assets are those?
Yeah, so I guess there's probably going to be a journey that we go on. I think right now our bread and butter business is managing mutual funds essentially, and so day one, what we're looking at is tokenizing the equity interest in those funds. So there's a ton of different use cases and applications for that. It's not just about liquidity. People talk about that a lot. That's obviously one of the benefits. There's the fractionalization as well. So bringing some of the private market assets to smaller investors. But there's a ton of efficiencies that can come from it as well. But that's day one. I think down the line, as the other parts of the market start to evolve, it's not just the fund managers that you need to change. You need lots of different service providers to change as well. We're going to see the individual assets tokenized. I'm thinking, real estate's an obvious one. It's one that everybody talks about. The reality is that very little is done in tokenizing real estate today, and it's typically not the physical building that's tokenized. It's usually some trust or deed around that, some vehicle, some wrapper. But as the industry matures, blockchain begins to be adopted by other groups, that's going to come. And so we're going to see real estate, real asset investments, private markets. I can see VC and PE fitting really well in here in the future. And to be honest with you, it's not just the liquidity that keeps people out. There's the size, so the minimum size. There is the liquidity, the complexity. I mean, if you don't have the kind of resources to go about, you're making a very large investment, you've got to dedicate a lot of time and effort to that, especially if you're going to be locked up. A lot of people just don't have that. And I think, most of the focus is on these private assets, but in truth, very, very simple assets such as, bonds, corporate bonds are not available to the individual investor. Right? They in themselves have hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not tens of millions. But for most individuals, a portfolio of individual corporate bonds is completely out of the question if it's a bespoke portfolio. So again, fractionalization of those, there's huge application there. In the US as well, there's the other kind of municipal bonds. I mean, it's an amazing story. Like you imagine this. I don't know, there's a toll bridge or a road that you use every day and you're paying to use this thing, and that there's a bond behind that. Why not own part of it? And it's kind of coming back around to you.
And as Aberdeen take a look at the next 6 to 12 months, what do you hope to accomplish? We won't hold you to it. But.
So I think the first tokenized funds from us is the obvious one, but I think there's more that we can do in helping to kind of bring other parts of the fund management industry into the discussion. So I think that's also, I really see that as part of our role as well. It's not just about the individual investments that we want to tokenize. I think there's also it's the rising tide lifts all ships sort of thing. We need other parts of the market to get on board as well. So we're going to take it upon ourselves to kind of encourage that adoption.
All right, Zep, it sounds like they're going to be coming in pretty hot and they want to tokenize their funds, which is really exciting. We talk about total value locked all the time, and I know that this isn't technically DeFi, but it has to be considered on some level if we start to tokenize tens of billions of dollars on the Hedera network. What do you think?
The entire TVL of the entire Web3 industry at this moment in time is $55.27 billion. The Aberdeen have 508 billion Great British pounds assets under management, which I think equates to about $580 billion. Mm-hmm. So that's if they tokenize those funds, which they have plans to, that's 530 billion more than the entirety of the market cap of TVL combined. And obviously, like we said just now, I don't imagine that they'll all be on smart contracts. If they are, so it'll be difficult to measure that TVL on chains like DeFi Llama and stuff. But there's we as an industry, when people are coming and they're that's the first domino, Aberdeen, and if they tokenize that, that's massive. And maybe that might not come up in the TVL metrics on DeFi Llama or whatever, but just as a general faith for other enterprises that are entering the space, to see someone like Aberdeen putting that much of their capital tokenized on Hedera, that's like a signal for enterprise as a whole. That's a signal for the banks. That's a signal for the payment rails. That's a symbol for anyone that wants to have anything tokenized in Web3, especially it's coming from Web2. That's the golden flag right there.
Well, this is something that Toko had brought up in the past, total value represented. So these are all going to be HTS tokens, I assume. And it's certainly a metric that DeFi Llama and the others that track DeFi in general really need to track. Do we need to make a new category for it? Maybe. But it's certainly something that shows the trust they have in different networks, and Hedera in particular in this case.
For sure. I think we need to get Mr. Mr. Lemon Bird to come up with Hedera transactions, and then underneath total value represented or whatever it was, and we could really work with them there.
Exactly. So the next thing we wanted to get into is Zoop. This is a new platform that allows for avatars to be made and used in Web3. Zep, you've been following this fairly closely. Do you have any more information for us on this?
So Zoop was created by the two guys that took OnlyFans from $0 to $1 billion unicorn. And OnlyFans was, the Web 2 sort of consumer engagement, creator economy, that one of the ones that really rose to the surface and excelled. And, it's almost like a household name, not for all the best reasons, but it's one nonetheless. But, to see that those two guys who took that to $1 billion unicorn see the value in Web3, these guys are serious entrepreneurs. They see the value of the creator economy is now much deeper in Web3. They've seen that, and they've chosen. Originally, I remember I saw the original press releases when Zoop first came on my radar, Polygon. Very interesting. Now, Hedera, they've chosen Hedera as their ledger. And, so essentially what they're doing is they're creating these avatars. There's a lot of celebrities that are going to be announced, as I understand. But these avatars will work within games. And so you think, okay, wow, you got these avatars. What games are they going to be in? Well, this is the second part. They've partnered with Ready Player Me, and these avatars, according to the press release, will then be available in 4,000 of Ready Player Me's games. So these avatars from Hedera will be seen throughout their ecosystem. And for me, I don't know quite how that'll work in terms of TPS, HTS, whatever. But to hear that scale of those avatars being used, clearly something's going to be happening to our metrics there, and I'm very interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing what they're trying to accomplish. I know I'm going to be doing an interview with them maybe Monday, so if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and drop those down in the comments, and we'll get those included in that interview. All right, so the next thing I wanted to get into is something I did over this past weekend, and that's Karate Combat. So Karate Combat is a new strike league that's taking over MMA. It's doing a fantastic job. They're going to have an HTS token, and it's going to be represented in their DAO. So governance, they're going to use it for, determining which fighters get added, which fights get put together, what rule changes are made, things along those lines. But you can also use it to gamify their fights. So essentially, you're going to be able to pick which fighters you think are going to win. And if they actually win, you get more karate tokens. If you lose, you don't lose anything. So it's not traditional gaming as you would think in the past, but it's certainly an exciting way to make these fights more exciting. But as you can see here in this clip, these fights are already exciting enough. They're amazing. I went down there. I got a backstage tour through how they put these shows together, and it is absolutely amazing. I met Roy Jones Jr., pretty much one of the greatest fighters to ever live, former UFC champion Lyoto Machida, and I got to talk to Bas Rutten, an absolute MMA legend. You can check out that interview in this video above, but it was just really exciting. Did you catch some of my coverage of the fight?
I did indeed. We had ringside seats. That was we were primed. All the HBAR variants had prime viewing there, and that was incredible. That knockout was absolutely savage. But that kind of thing, like, whilst that was a serious blow, but of course the guy was okay afterwards. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of clip that goes viral, which is an interesting point. Like on TikTok, it's that kind of like, wow, amazing strike, guy goes down. Kind of terrifying to watch, but everyone's interested. And who's underneath all of that? Hedera, the HBAR Foundation, etc., etc. So we've seriously got some. I think the BD team at the foundation have really had some foresight there. They've seen a sport that has seriously upside potential. They've got our sponsorship early in there, the branding in there. They understand that these things go viral, that how well they're doing on social media. And, hopefully that means Hedera is going to become more and more familiar just in the back of people's minds. And then, as they move into Web3, perhaps they'll see us and they'll go, wow, just subconsciously, that's the company I'm going for.
Yeah, well, I can see, pretty much these tokens are going to be the ownership of the organization. So, this can become Hedera's Fight League. Of course, we have all the branding around it already, but, our people know how to acquire some tokens. Of course, there's going to be the airdrop. Hopefully, we'll be able to choose the fights fairly well. And of course, there's going to be DeFi around the karate token as well. And you can acquire tokens that way too. So it's just exciting to see how this is going to develop.
For sure. I'm really excited.
All right, Zep, and we had a few other announcements coming out of the HBAR Foundation this week. We have Mingo, which we've talked about a fair amount, and they're doing things with Tyson Fury. We have Numbers Protocol that just came out a few hours ago, and then we have Verde Blocks as well. Do you have any information on these?
Yeah, so Mingo apps, the foundation put out a blog on them, which is really cool to see. We got caught up with Mingo chats, with Mingo wallets, and within that, we also learned that they're going to be relaunching their exclusive NFT drop with Tyson Fury. I think they said in December. So, that's a good one to look out for because they've got the exclusive rights there. And it's going to be a lot more seamless this time around. I think there was the first time around, there was some difficulties with the payment provider. So this time around, they sorted that out. They're going to make it super seamless. So hopefully that'll be a really swift drop. So yeah, another cool one that just came out today is Numbers Protocol. And they're dropping, I think there's 5 pretty famous photographers. I was looking at their Instagrams who are part of I think it's MakerDAO Creator DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization for creators and photographers and artists. So they're all members of that and they're all doing their own respective drops. And then, they've chosen Hedera. And on top of that, there was, I think they're creating an app called Capture Protocol or Capture app. And within this app, basically what it is, it enables, I suppose, sort of integrity of photographs, really.
So it's kind of like the Starling project, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's again to enable people to know that real events are happening within the photograph on chain rather than, the whole basically combating things like fake news and fake resources and all this stuff.
Sure.
And so what it is it's a mobile app whereby you take the photo and then you can choose which ledger you want the NFT to go onto, but it directly minces an NFT. And I don't think Hedera is integrated yet. I think Polygon and some others are integrated, but Hedera's integration is coming, which again, that's really cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have an interview with them probably next week as well. So again, if you have any questions, drop them down there in the comments. All right, and Verde Blocks, how about them?
Yeah, so Verde Blocks is the first DLT-enabled platform for businesses to purchase renewable energy. I haven't delved that deeply into it yet, but again, that's another sustainable impact fund ecosystem project. Again, working with the Guardian and again, cementing us within that sort of sustainability ecosystem. But, I haven't fully delved into it yet, but that's just a really good thing to see again.
Yeah, well, it's also a good thing when we can't even keep up with the news that's coming out of the Hedera ecosystem, right? All right, do you have Metrica up? Do you want to go ahead and get into some transaction analysis? All right, so we did mention some bumps in the road, and we are back down to just about 1 million transactions per day. I do think that those large spikes in transactions that we've seen over the past month is associated with Atma.io, but they're still, figuring things out, and I'm sure they're going to be back. The one thing that I'm excited about is seeing smart contract transactions over 20,000 again. A lot of the revenue that comes in comes from smart contract transactions, so to see that remaining healthy, probably mostly spurred on from our DeFi space, is certainly encouraging. Time to consensus is still well under 5 seconds, which is good to see. Account growth still strong, and we talked to Blade Wallet over this past week. They have an awesome strategy to bring Web3 to the masses, to bring Hedera to the masses more specifically. Any thoughts on account growth there, Zep?
So what have we got? So on the day, we're up 42%. We're slightly down on the week, but one interesting point on account creation is obviously these these account creations are completely tied to the retail side of our ecosystem. And as I said earlier, I'm currently at NFT London, and I spoke to a gaming project that I didn't know was building on Hedera, that is building on Hedera, and I'm super excited about them. And I'm hoping that a lot of accounts will be generated from that, which is cool. I don't know when they're kind of going to start, launch on their socials and stuff, but it was really cool to hear their vision and see some of the screenshots and stuff like that from what they're building. So yeah, again, there's people building behind the scenes for this retail side of things, and that's what's going to be driving our growth, account growth anyway, rather than the enterprise applications. So the further our accounts go up, the better our retail ecosystem is, and it's a healthy metric to look at, definitely.
Yeah, exciting for sure. Getting into our fungible token summary, we have Not a Protocol still in first there, Wrapped HBAR, and we have Sauce in the top 10. We have USDC in the top 10. Those are certainly good to show we have good health in our DeFi ecosystem. I have gotten some more information on Energy Trade Token. We always see them in the top 5. I have somebody who actually knows who it is. I haven't gotten specific information about the entire project, but at least I'm going down the right road. All right, so as far as the non-fungible tokens, we see a lot that we recognize there. We see the Slime World NFT. I haven't seen Little Chaps before, but we have Creamies in there. We have Hangry Barboons, which we certainly know about, and I see Meta Wizards as well. Any thoughts on the NFTs?
Yeah, I'm not sure who the Little Chap Club is, but that's quite funny. But in terms of Hangry Barboons, great to see them on there again, of course. They've actually, so Dead Pixels was the first project to surpass 10 million volume, HBAR volume on Zeus market, and Hangry Barboons has now surpassed 11 million. So yeah, their rate of growth has been fantastic to watch. And it's great to see, in my head, I was like, no one's going to pass Dead Pixels. So to be able to see a project come out of nowhere and just do that well really shows that excitement ecosystem. Sure. I'm going to enjoy watching Dead Pixels and Hangry have a friendly battle at the top.
Sure, absolutely. And another thing that came out in the Hedera NFT space was the relaunch of GoMint. That was one of the original minting platforms on Hedera from the very beginning. But they relaunched this week, and we'll see what comes out of that. Any thoughts on GoMint relaunching there, Zep?
Yeah, I mean, that's great to see. That was sort of the OG route for people to play with NFTs on Hedera before the NFT standard HIP 18 or HIP 17 rather even existed. I don't actually know how they did it, but they basically brought NFTs before the standard. So they got everyone excited. This was in the days before, I think before Hash Connect and before Secure Trade, when the NFT ecosystem was completely based on trust, on two people sending each other wallets. There was a lot of friendships built there, a lot of amazing projects from the early days, including the HBAR Gremlins that I remember well and some others. And they really facilitated the origin of NFTs on Hedera. And because of that, they're a serious part of the legacy. And it's great to see them coming back with not only focusing on retail, but also on like a business side of things, enterprise NFTs as well. So they've definitely got their own unique angle there. They've got the history behind them. They've got the respect behind them. And it's going to be exciting to see what they do in the future.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We've had so much development in our NFT space, but yeah, to see GoMint coming back and making a mark again is certainly exciting to see. All right, so Zep had to go to NFT NYC London. I'm not really sure how that works, but he's heading over there to represent Hedera. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out DeFi and some market commentary on my own. Starting off here with some farming rewards on Saucer Swap. We're sitting at 80% on HBAR USDC. That's come up a little bit. HBAR Sauce is sitting at 55%, and HBAR is sitting at about 20%. So pretty much holding where we saw it last time about 2 weeks ago. As far as the liquidity rewards on HBAR, we're sitting at just over 2%. That's normally what we see. Sauce HBAR is sitting at 4%. That's a little bit better than what I've seen normally. And USDC HBAR is sitting at above 16%. So that's pretty darn good. And moving over to HeliSwap, we have HBAR sitting at 27%, so a little bit better than what we're seeing over on Saucer Swap. USDC HBAR sitting at 88%, but I don't think they have quite the volume that we're seeing on Saucer Swap, so we're getting really close to that being even. Granted, over on Saucer Swap, their rewards are paid in both Sauce and HBAR, and then on HeliSwap, it's just paid in HBAR. The best pools on HeliSwap are certainly the ones that have pairs with Ohm. So HBAR Ohm and USDC Ohm, they're sitting at just about 200% on both of those. So overall, it's still holding pretty strong. Another DEX that's going to be coming online in a couple months is Lehman Swap, and I'm actually doing some advising for them. But Lehman Swap has gone through their first round of NFT sales, which is going to give you access to their native tokens, Juice and VX Juice. I know it's shut down right now, but I think there's going to be some additional rounds, and it's fun. They're going to actually have these straws as well that are going to give you additional rewards, and we're going to get them on next week to run us through exactly what they're doing. And I'm also hoping to get Saucer Swap because they're going to be coming out with single-sided staking soon, so we want to catch what they're doing as well. Stater TVL has come down a little bit. It's come down to about 1.4 billion HBAR total value locked. The APY is sitting just under 10%. And the exchange rate is sitting at about 1.2 HBAR for every HBAR-X. That means if you were in HBAR liquid staking from the beginning, you've earned almost 20%. So we're having a fairly decent day in the HBAR market. We're up a little bit. We're sitting at about 6.25 cents. That said, we are pretty range bound. We've been bouncing between 5.7 cents up to about 6.3 cents, and we're getting pretty close to that 6.3 cents right now. If we break through that, hopefully we'll make a run up to about 6.5. Risk assets were roiled this week when the Fed came out and remained pretty hawkish. They raised interest rates again, 0.75%, and risk assets really didn't like that, but crypto held up fairly well. That's all we got. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out that interview we did with Sammy from Blade Wallet, and make sure you put your Twitter handle and hashtag 10K giveaway down there in the comments, and we'll see you next week.